Breaking news.
If this were a Hollywood movie, this plot twist would be the most ruthless of all. A chillingly cold will, 3 biological children mercilessly struck from the inheritance, and an entire fortune worth tens of millions of dollars handed over to just one person, Betsy Arakawa. But the mystery doesn't end there. More than a month after Gene Hackman's passing, his forsaken children have finally spoken out. And what they've revealed could leave the world stunned. The veil of secrecy has finally lifted. Hidden documents, words never before made public, and the shadowy corners of a legend's life that the public never knew existed. But the most terrifying part isn't the lost fortune. It's the truth Hackman may have taken to his grave. If what his 3 children say is true, then perhaps we've all been wrong about Gene Hackman. Of course, this is just a theory, a story seen from a different angle, a truth that may never find its resolution. No one could have imagined that Gene Hackman's will, the Hollywood legend, a man once admired by the entire world, could stir such controversy. When the will was unsealed, everyone in the lawyer's office was left speechless. Not a single penny, not a shred of property was left to his 3 biological children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. The entire estate, valued at tens of millions of dollars, was bequeathed to Betsy Arakawa, the second wife who stood by Hackman for over 30 years. But now, with both Hackman and Betsy gone, that fortune finds itself in a peculiar limbo. No direct heir. This isn't just a division of assets, it's a statement, a deliberate choice. A massive question mark hanging over Gene Hackman's family life, over relationships that seemed close but may have grown icy long ago. And most importantly, why? Gene Hackman wasn't the kind of man who acted recklessly. He was a disciplined individual, a calculated thinker, a man whose decisions left no room for regret. Leaving everything to Betsy and nothing to his children couldn't have been a mere oversight or lapse in memory. It was a declaration. Many wonder, did Hackman have an irreparable rift with his 3 children? Did he intentionally erase them from his life, just as he decisively walked away from Hollywood when he felt it no longer suited him? For years, the relationship between Hackman and his children remained an enigma. No widely shared family photos, no public tributes exchanged. His kids grew up with little evidence of a deep bond with their famous father. So, could this will simply be a reflection of a reality that had existed for a long time? But one detail complicates matters further. Hackman drafted this will in 2005. Nearly 2 decades have passed since then. He had ample time to revise, update, or amend it. If, in all those years, he never altered the will to include his children, what does that signify? The situation grows stranger still when you consider this. With both Hackman and Betsy now gone, there's no clear heir. By law, Hackman's estate will pass into trusts he established, the Gene Hackman Living Trust and the GB Revocable Trust. But the catch is that the original trustees, Hackman and Betsy, are no longer here. This means a third party will be appointed to oversee the fortune. Who will control this wealth? Could Hackman's children, despite being excluded from the will, step in and claim a share? Or will everything Hackman left behind end up in the hands of an organization he never publicly acknowledged? For many, this came as a shock. A man who lived an extraordinary life, a titan of the silver screen, has left behind a mystery that no one can easily unravel. Where are Hackman's children in all of this? Christopher Allen Hackman, Elizabeth Jean Hackman, and Leslie Ann Hackman. 3 names now resurfacing, not for their bond with their legendary father, but for their absence from his will. An anonymous source once hinted that Hackman's relationship with his children was never truly harmonious. Some rumors even suggest that in his final years he rarely spoke to them. No one knows for certain what happened behind closed doors, but that doesn't mean they're voiceless. Regardless of Hackman's intentions, when he wrote the will, his 3 children could still take the matter to court and challenge its legality. That would mean a grueling legal battle, one they might not win. Naama Rahmani, a former federal prosecutor, commented, Hackman's children do not have an automatic right to inherit, and they can be left out of his will. He emphasized that to overturn it, they'd need to prove Hackman wasn't of sound mind when he signed it, or that someone manipulated him into the decision. But that's no simple task. That is an uphill legal battle and not likely to be successful, Rahmani concluded. Yet if there's truly no dispute, why has everything remained so quiet? Why hasn't anyone in Hackman's family spoken up? What kept his 3 children silent for over a month? Do they know something the public doesn't? Or are they biding their time, waiting for the right moment to reveal all? The questions keep piling up, and it seems the more answers we get, the deeper the mystery of Gene Hackman becomes. One thing is certain, his will isn't just a lifeless document, it's a proclamation, a riddle, a gateway to truths yet untold. And when that gate swings open, who knows what awaits on the other side? All eyes turn to Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie, the 3 children Gene Hackman had with his first wife, Faye Maltese. They've never spoken publicly about their father, never joined him on the red carpet, never given interviews about growing up with one of Hollywood's greatest legends. For years, they lived in silence, so much so that many didn't even know they existed. And now, with their famous father gone and his will excluding them entirely, rumors of a fractured family resurface once more. But where did this distance begin? Gene Hackman was never the quintessential family man. He was renowned for his relentless work ethic, his boundless dedication to film, and above all, he was a man who didn't open up easily. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie spent their childhoods in the towering shadow of a father the world revered, but who may not have spared enough time to listen to his own kids. As Hackman soared to the peak of his career with The French Connection and The Poseidon Adventure, his 3 children remained minor footnotes in his life. On the nights he returned home after endless days on set, did he ever truly make time for them? Did he ever set aside his work to hear about their school days, their friends, their childhood dreams? An old family friend once revealed that Hackman was a stern father, even distant at times. He wasn't the type to show affection freely, and the gap between him and his children widened with each passing year. Hackman was married to his career first and to his family second, someone close to him once said. Faye Maltese, Hackman's first wife, did everything she could to hold the family together. But as the children grew older, they came to a painful realization. Their father never truly belonged to them. The divorce between Hackman and Faye in 1986 may have been the breaking point that made his relationship with his children irreparable. After 30 years of marriage, their union ended quietly. No messy lawsuits, no media showdowns. Just one stark truth. Hackman had chosen to move on, and it seemed he left behind not just his marriage, but his children too. A year after the divorce, Hackman met Betsy Arakawa, the woman who would become his second wife. A pianist, 31 years his junior, Betsy built a new life with him, one entirely separate from his past. From that point on, Hackman's connection with his 3 children all but vanished. Many hoped that after retiring in 2004, Hackman might find time to mend ties with his family. But that never happened. He chose a quiet life in New Mexico, far from Hollywood's glare, and, it seems, far from his own flesh and blood. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie never spoke of their father in the press. No tribute posts, no public appearances to defend his legacy. They chose silence, and sometimes that silence spoke louder than any accusation. When news of Hackman's will broke, people expected some reaction from his 3 children, a statement, a message, even a lawsuit. But no, they remained silent. Why? Had they seen this coming long ago? Did they know their father would leave them nothing? Or is there something more hidden behind their quiet demeanor, a secret yet to surface? Some sources suggest Hackman might have left his children something outside the official will. Anonymous assets, private funds the public doesn't know about. But if so, why no sign of it? If they wanted to contest the will, they'd have to prove something was wrong. But perhaps they knew the truth all along, a probate lawyer remarked. Notably, though Hackman left his entire estate to Betsy, with both of them now gone, the fortune still lacks a clear heir. By law, if no one else is named, control could pass to a court-appointed third party, and Hackman's children might still have a chance to enter this legal fray. But they haven't. At least, not yet. Some families fall apart loudly with arguments, lawsuits, and public accusations. Others fracture more quietly, distance growing bit by bit until one day they realize they've become strangers. Gene Hackman's relationship with his children seems to fall into the latter category. No dramatic public scenes, no face-to-face confrontations. Just a harsh reality: they hadn't been a true family for a very long time. Now, with Hackman gone, his legacy isn't just his masterful films or prestigious awards. It's also a lingering question about family ties, and the things he may never have said aloud. So what about his 3 children? Will they stay silent, or will they finally speak out to reveal a truth the world has never known? Only time will tell. More than a month has passed since Gene Hackman's death, and the press still hounds his 3 children, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie. Their silence only fueled speculation, but at last they've broken it. Not through a flashy press conference or exclusive interviews with major outlets, but with a joint handwritten letter, a raw, emotional missive published on a small, nearly overlooked website. Yet, within hours, it became the center of attention. That letter wasn't just a farewell to their father, it was a declaration of a secret buried for years. A secret that could completely reshape how the world sees Gene Hackman, his controversial will, and even the forces that may have controlled him from behind the scenes. Our father was not a cruel man. He was not a heartless man, but he was a man who was silenced. The opening lines read like a warning. They dismantle the image of Gene Hackman as a callous father who coldly cut his children out of his life. Instead, his 3 offspring insist he never meant to exclude them from his will. He wanted to change it. He wanted to fix everything, but he couldn't. Simple words, yet heavy with meaning. What does this imply? Did Hackman once intend to revise his will to ensure his children weren't left empty-handed? If so, why didn't it happen? Who stopped him? The questions swirl in the public's mind. According to Christopher, Hackman planned to amend his will in 2019 as his health declined. He wanted to adjust the distribution, ensuring his 3 children received a fair share. But somehow, that process never came to fruition. We found his notes. We found his letters. He was trying, but something or someone stopped him. Hackman's children disclosed that after his death, they uncovered handwritten drafts, unpublished documents, where he outlined his intent to revise the will. For reasons unknown, those intentions were never acted upon. But what's more chilling isn't just that Hackman didn't update it, it's the signs of outside interference. There were messages that were erased, letters that were missing, documents that had been altered. They believe someone deliberately erased evidence, thwarting Hackman's final wishes. The first name that comes to mind is Betsy Arakawa. It's not surprising that a spouse might want to secure their partner's entire estate, but Betsy is gone too. If she orchestrated this, who benefits now? The answer lies with those handling Hackman's estate. With both Hackman and Betsy deceased, control immediately shifted to Avalon Trust LLC, a financial entity with scant public information. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie suspect Avalon Trust isn't just a neutral party appointed by the court. Our father never trusted big corporations. He never wanted his legacy controlled by strangers. But now it's happening. Could Avalon Trust have had ties to someone in Hackman's circle before all this unfolded? Was this a premeditated scheme? One of the most staggering revelations came from an unsent letter they found. tucked away in Hackman's personal safe, handwritten and addressed to no one specific. Its contents sent chills through everyone. "I don't know if I'll have the chance to fix this, but if I don't, I want you to know that I tried. I wanted to make things right." Gene Hackman knew his time was running out. He fought to change things, but for some reason he couldn't, and he knew that if he failed, others would ensure it stayed that way. The joint letter from Hackman's children wasn't just a revelation, it was a call to arms. They'd stayed silent for years, but now they couldn't anymore. "We will fight, not for the money, but for the truth." They want answers about what happened to their father, why his will was never updated, and above all, they aim to expose the forces pulling strings behind the scenes. But can they succeed? When a truth has been buried so long, is there still a chance to bring it to light? And if they dive into this battle, who will they face? A new chapter has begun, and this time, no one